Welcome to Velvet Beauty Hub, your go-to destination for fashion stories that inspire. From iconic luxury labels to rising stars in the world of style, we take you behind the scenes to discover the people, the passion, and the philosophies that shape fashion today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Hey fashion lovers, today we're diving into one of the most enchanting and enduring style movements in fashion history, Boho Chic. You know, that effortlessly romantic, free-spirited aesthetic that makes you want to pack your bags for a music festival or wander through a vintage market in Paris. Whether you remember Kate Moss rocking it at Glastonbury or you've been seeing it all over your Instagram feed lately, Boho Chic has this incredible way of coming back stronger every time. So grab your favorite flowy dress and let's take a journey through the fascinating history of this trend that just refuses to die. So where did this whole boho thing actually start? Well, it's kind of complicated, and honestly, that's part of what makes it so interesting. The word bohemian originally comes from bohemian, a French term that was actually used to describe Romani people back in the day. But here's the thing, it was based on a total misunderstanding. People thought the Romani came from Bohemia, which is now part of the Czech Republic, but they didn't. It's one of those historical mix-ups that somehow stuck around. The real Bohemian movement as we know it started gaining steam in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, especially after the French Revolution. Picture this. All these artists, writers, and creative types suddenly found themselves without their wealthy patrons and were basically broke. But instead of giving up, they created this whole alternative lifestyle that celebrated creativity over conformity, art over money, and freedom over following the rules. They were like the original rebels with a cause, living in cheap apartments in Paris's Latin Quarter, wearing whatever they could find and basically saying screw it to society's expectations. And you know what? That spirit of rebellion and authenticity is exactly what makes boho so appealing even today. Fast forward to the early 1900s, and we get our first real taste of bohemian fashion hitting the mainstream. Enter Paul Poiret, this incredible French designer who was basically the first person to say, hey, maybe women shouldn't have to wear corsets that make them unable to breathe. Revolutionary concept, right? Poiret was all about draping, flowing fabrics, and letting women actually move in their clothes. He created these amazing pieces like harem pants, which were totally scandalous at the time, and these gorgeous lampshade tunics that just flowed beautifully. What's so cool about Poiret is that he wasn't just making clothes. He was making a statement about women's liberation and artistic expression. The wealthy elite started embracing what they called hot bohemian because suddenly it was trendy to be associated with artists and free thinkers. It's kind of ironic when you think about it. A movement that started as anti-establishment became the thing that rich people wanted to be associated with. But that's fashion for you, always full of these fascinating contradictions. Okay, but the real game changer? The 1960s and 70s. This is when boho fashion really found its soul. The hippie movement wasn't just about fashion. It was about changing the world, man. These weren't just clothes. They were symbols of peace, love, and sticking it to the establishment. Woodstock in 1969 was like the ultimate boho fashion show, except nobody was trying to be fashionable. They were just being themselves. You had people wearing whatever felt good. Flowing caftans, bell-bottom jeans, peasant blouses, and loads of handmade jewelry. And here's what I love about this era. Everything was so personal and DIY. People were tie-dyeing their own clothes, making macrame jewelry, and customizing vintage pieces they found in thrift stores. It wasn't about brands or labels. It was about self-expression. Artists like Stevie Nicks became these incredible style icons without even trying. She'd just float onto stage in these ethereal, flowing outfits that looked like she'd been touched by some fashion fairy. And speaking of icons, We can't forget about Yves Saint Laurent's incredible fall 1976 couture show inspired by the Ballet Russes. That collection was pure magic. All these folkloric blouses, dramatic vests, and flowing skirts in the most gorgeous silks and velvets. It proved that boho could be both free-spirited and incredibly sophisticated. The 80s kind of put boho on the back burner while everyone was obsessing over power suits and shoulder pads. But the 90s? That's when things started getting interesting again. We had this whole grunge movement happening. But there was also this underground appreciation for vintage 70s pieces brewing. Then comes Tom Ford at Gucci in the late 90s. And oh my God, did he shake things up. His spring 1999 hippie chic collection was absolutely groundbreaking. We're talking vibrant florals splashed across everything. Dresses, bikinis, low-slung pants. He had mirror-work tops, feathered denim, and fringe details that would make any Woodstock attendee jealous. But this wasn't some nostalgic throwback. Ford made it feel completely modern and sexy. Around the same time, we had movies like Almost Famous in development, which would later become this incredible time capsule of 70s style. The costume designers were already diving deep into that era's aesthetic, preparing to show the world just how cool boho could be. And then came the 2000s, the absolute golden age of boho chic. This is when the style exploded into mainstream culture in the most incredible way. Kate Hudson's Penny Lane in Almost Famous was like a masterclass in boho styling. Those peasant blouses, that iconic shearling coat, all those layered accessories. She made bohemian style look so effortlessly cool that everyone wanted to dress like her. But the real queens of this era? Kate Moss and Sienna Miller. These two basically wrote the rulebook for modern boho chic. Kate Moss at Glastonbury became the stuff of legend. She'd show up in these perfectly imperfect outfits that looked like she'd just thrown them together, but somehow looked absolutely stunning. Denim shorts, sheer blouses, statement jewelry, and those iconic hunter wellies because British weather, am I right? And Sienna Miller, oh my God, she was perfection. She had this incredible ability to mix high-end pieces with vintage finds and make it all look so natural. The fringe, the flowing fabrics, the perfectly tousled hair. She was like a walking bohemian dream. Then you had Rachel Zoe, who was the stylist behind so many iconic boho looks. She transformed celebrities like Nicole Richie, Misha Barton, and Lindsay Lohan into boho goddesses with those flowing maxi dresses, statement belts, and oversized accessories. What made the 2000s boho explosion so special was how it filtered into popular culture. TV shows like The OC and Gossip Girl were serving up boho inspiration weekly. Misha Barton's Marissa Cooper was giving us that California boho vibe, while Blake Lively's Serena van der Woodsen brought a more polished, international version of the style. The costume designers were genius at making these characters feel real and relatable through their clothing choices. And let's talk about the Olsen twins. Mary-Kate and Ashley were living, breathing boho style guides. They'd layer vintage finds with designer pieces and somehow make it all work together in this effortlessly chic way. They showed us that boho could be sophisticated and edgy at the same time. This was also the era when festival fashion really became a thing. Coachella wasn't just about the music anymore. It was about the outfits. Everyone was planning their festival looks months in advance, and boho was the unofficial uniform. Vanessa Hudgens became the queen of festival fashion with her crochet tops, denim shorts, and statement jewelry. It was like an annual fashion show in the desert, and boho was always the star of the show. But you know how fashion works. What goes up must come down, right? By around 2008, boho chic was everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Fast fashion retailers were pumping out peasant skirts and fringed bags faster than you can say festival season. The style became so commercialized and oversaturated that fashion insiders started getting tired of it. Even Sienna Miller herself said she was done with boho chic. cutting her hair into a sleek bob and moving on to other styles. The fashion world collectively decided it was time for something new, and suddenly, everyone was obsessing over minimalism and structured silhouettes. It's funny how these things work. The same style that felt so authentic and personal in the early 2000s started feeling costumey and overdone by the end of the decade. But here's the thing about great style movements. They never really die. They just take little naps. While the mainstream fashion world moved on to other trends, boho never completely disappeared. It just went underground for a while, waiting for the right moment to make its comeback. And that comeback? Oh, honey, it's happening right now, and it's bigger than ever. The 2020s revival of boho chic started on the runways, which is actually pretty different from how most trends happen these days. Usually, we see things blow up on TikTok first, but boho's return was designer-led, which gives it this really sophisticated, elevated feeling. The real catalyst was Chemena Kamali's debut at Chloé. When she presented her fall 2024 collection, it was like watching boho chic get reborn. But this wasn't the same boho we knew from the 2000s. This was more refined, more thoughtful, more grown up, I guess. Kamali talked about how there's this longing for undoneness and freedom and softness and movement in our current world. And honestly, after everything we've been through in recent years, that makes so much sense. We're craving clothes that feel comfortable and authentic, not rigid and performative. Other designers jumped on board too. Isabel Marant, Valentino, Stella McCartney, they're all putting their own spin on bohemian elements. And it's not just high fashion. The trend has trickled down beautifully, with contemporary brands offering accessible takes on the boho aesthetic. So what does boho chic look like in 2025? It's evolved, and honestly, it's better than ever. This new wave is less about costumey festival looks and more about incorporating bohemian elements into your everyday wardrobe. We're seeing a lot more sophisticated silhouettes. Think flowing midi dresses instead of full-on maxi gowns, delicate ruffles instead of over-the-top fringe. The color palette is still very earthy. Those gorgeous browns, creams, terracottas, and forest greens that just make you feel grounded and peaceful. But there's also this beautiful incorporation of richer jewel tones that feel very 2025. Accessories are key to this modern boho look. We're seeing the return of those iconic slouchy hobo bags. The Balenciaga City bag is having a major moment again. Cuff bracelets worn over long sleeves, statement belts that cinch everything from flowing dresses to structured blazers, and yes, those over-the-knee boots that make every outfit look instantly cooler. What I love most about contemporary boho is how inclusive and adaptable it is. You don't have to commit to a full bohemian lifestyle to wear the trend. You can just add a fringed bag to your minimalist outfit or throw on a flowing kimono over your jeans and t-shirt. It's about taking the elements that speak to you and making them work with your personal style.